Okay, y'all know what it is. Co-Stars Media, glad to bring you the best in YouTube entertainment. And we're going to get it started with the explosive, the one and only JJ Dynamite Show. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? JJ Dynamite coming to you from in the lab. I figure I can kill two birds with one stone. I wanted to do a reaction video to the now we talking about it, the Diddy situation. But at the same time, I got these seeds right here that I'm about to plant. So I figure while I plant these seeds, this is that Kim. While I plant these seeds, we could talk about the Diddy situation. Now, as you see with the title of this situation, End of an Era, Birth of a Nation, I want to take on another aspect of the Diddy situation. First off, we all know he's in jail for sex trafficking, bringing prostitutes across the border, and worst of all, racketeering. But with the racketeering, man, it ain't a worse crime. Don't get me wrong, all you women's live. But what I'm saying is the time is going to be worse. And a lot of other people's going to be affected by this too. So, you know, you got your Stevie J's, you got your Ushers. Unfortunately, maybe Justin Bieber, because as y'all know, sexual crimes is a recurring offense. And what I mean by recurring, I mean, if you commit a sexual crime to one person, in particular men, I think, you know, but now a lot of women's getting caught up for the sexual crime stuff. But if you commit that act on somebody, there's a highly likely chance that they'll commit it too in the future on somebody else. You know, this is what's so bad about they keep it going. Yeah, these is my reading glasses, y'all. The creep 10,000s, but they also look like the penitentiary jail glasses. You know, if you've been to jail, y'all know what I'm talking about. But you know, the penitentiary ones ain't so fancy with all this, you know, design on them. But I use these for reading and seeing because as I'm getting older, you know, it's hard for me to see things. So, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing two things at once. So like I was saying, it keeps reoccurring over and over and over again. So, you know, Justin Bieber might get caught up because he might have did the same thing to somebody else that steps forward. And it's going to go all the way up to Clive Davis, Weinstein. I don't want to say the Clintons, but their names are always being dropped. Whenever this type of stuff comes up, they're always there. They'll be at a Diddy party. But you know, the political type like them, I doubt if they receive real bad repercussions, because before they let Diddy take down the true Illuminati, not just the Diddy Illuminati, where he telling these suckers that he's Illuminati and he'll put them on if he, you know how he do it. But the real Illuminati, they got ways, you know, they'll take you out, you know, like they trying to take out Trump. You know, me, myself, I think Trump's one of them too. I just think they're warring within themselves. But anyway, back to the topic. So, End of an Era, as y'all know, is the end of Bad Boy Records. You know, we out here in Denver, so we always ride with the West. Don't ever get it twisted. You know, you got your variables, but for the majority, we ride with the West. But it's the end of the Bad Boy era, and I'd say it's the end of that whole mentality era of the 90s and the late 80s. There was a different mentality then. It was more barbaric. You know, some of us old timers like a little bit of that barbarism. But, you know, when we get into the sexual thing, that's looked down upon on gangsters. So, you know, Diddy about to fold on everybody. You know what I mean? But his era is over. But why, y'all ask, do I have the Birth of a Nation as a picture on the title? Well, because I'm as a minority, and now we are a minority. Black people are a minority because half of people don't want to be black; they want to be Latino. But anyway, as a minority, y'all might have heard of that movie called Birth of a Nation. And one of the key things in that movie was that black people was, or black men in specifically, was raping white women. So, since that was happening back then, it looks like it's going back to that again. And the unfortunate thing is that a lot of these dudes who's in positions of power and in the limelight, because you know blacks gotta be into entertainment, kind of like the Jews, you know what I mean, after they was getting uncovered for their bacon and they found out that a lot of the bacon Jews weren't, you know, it's a whole little thing. Maybe I'll do a video about it. But you know, blacks gotta be in entertainment. So when they show us, and our biggest ones are Diddy's, our Cosby's, our R. Kelly's, you know, and I didn't realize how big R. Kelly was till he went to prison. He was pretty big, and I didn't realize how much of his music I heard in passing. But you know, I'm a hip hop fanatic, so I guess I have listened to his, but you know, I was more Keith Sweat, you know, them type of dudes. When I listen to my R&B or the old school 70s funkadelic shit. But anyway, let me get back on my train of thought, y'all. You know, I'm getting older. So, anyway, all these popular icons is getting caught up for sexual acts. By the way, I'm going to say it. Bill Cosby, I'm kind of iffy about him. And even R. Kelly, how grown are you before you say, you know what, this ain't the right situation? I don't know enough about his case. I heard that some mothers and parents was involved, like Aaliyah. That was wrong. Aaliyah's mom is wrong. Lady, if you still around, you was wrong for that. You know, so yeah, R. Kelly's in that. Bill Cosby, I don't know. I have to research his case, but I never was a Bill Cosby fan except for when the Cosby Show was on, and I moved more towards different world. But my point being is, with all these icons getting caught up for sexual assault, you got your Trumpers who's going to say, you know what? The Haitians is eating dogs and cats, and the blacks is going around raping and killing everything moving. It's a birth of a nation. And then the craziest thing about it is that you're going to have blacks co-sign this stuff. Excuse me, y'all. You're going to have blacks co-signing this stuff. And when they co-sign it, right? When they co-sign it, they'll be justified in co-signing it. They'll be justified, you know? Excuse me, y'all. Let me keep moving while I'm talking. They'll be justified in co-signing it because dudes like R. Kelly, dudes like P. Diddy, who they gonna make sure they put in the limelight. P. Diddy, I don't know though. I think something about freaky about to happen with him. I think he might not make it. I hope he do, so we can get to the bottom of it. We can get to the Clive Davises and etc. etc. But these dudes are really doing it. They really doing it. Man, come on, y'all. Y'all get it together, man. But I'm going to tell y'all what. White America, worldwide America. I'm a black man that stands on my morals. Not just the don't tell, don't betray your homies. But understanding that our youth is our future. When we call each other kings and queens, 50-something-year-old men and women, we know that we're only kings in spirit. Our future got a chance to be kings and queens for real. You know what I mean? For real. So y'all entertainers, you know, I know a lot of that stuff is residue left over from the 90s. If y'all don't know how bad the 90s, especially the early 90s, late 80s, if y'all don't know how bad it was, listen to that Ends for Life album by NWA. And then you'll see how bad it was. Let me take these glasses off. You'll see how bad it was back then. Because back in the 90s, we was more barbaric. That's why they say the gangbanging in the 90s and the 80s, it wasn't just Cali. It was out here too. You know what I mean? It was out here too. It was out here too. In Denver, Colorado. But we was more savage. That ain't nothing to be proud of. Because before us, they was more savage than us. But not sexually savage. They was savage, the Black Panthers, the BGF. Even the Jews had the Weathermen. The whites had their groups. But they was more stronger. Oh yeah, and of course, the Mexican had their groups, the Brown Panthers. I'm not talking about the MA or no Rista Familia. Excuse me if I'm saying it wrong. I respect the red. But I'm talking about like Brown Panthers. The unions. What is it? The AFL. Latino-based union, from my understanding. The American Fruit Laborers Union is what I'm talking about, if y'all don't know what the AFL is. They was strong in a way where they was fighting the police, fighting the system, and made changes which opened the door for us that's 50 to 55, 50, or let's say 45 to 55. They opened the door for us to fuck it up. We started misusing our women because we like the pimps better. Now we got P. Diddy. It done morphed into P. Diddy still with the mindset that he had in the 90s, in the 2000s, into the 2020s. And now he's going, now they got him, they gaffling him. He turned into some kind of excuse me, to the LGBTQ, right? LGBTQ community. But he turned into a sexual deviant gangster. Wannabe gangster, because everybody knows Suge was the real gangster out of all that stuff. I don't know how y'all LA politics is, but you know, the dudes that I thought was gangsters was like Al Capone. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't know what Al Capone did in the streets or whatever, but what he did in that position, he did in that position, like Suge Knight. You know what I mean? Al Capone got his face cut. I heard he wasn't very good physical fighter without weapons. You know, I heard he couldn't really throw them without weapons, but, you know, who knows? Anyway, what I'm saying, P. Diddy, you messing up. All y'all other cats that was getting caught up in there, I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to be honest with you. Me, I'm going to look at some of that stuff with a grain of salt when the names come out. I'm going to look at it with a grain of salt because I know that a person's mentality in the 90s wasn't the same as in the 50s when the cats got kids that's grown and young daughters and they've learned, they've been paid forth already, I'm pretty sure, because a lot of the things I did wrong, not sexual deviant things, I wasn't in, that wasn't my swag, but a lot of things, you know, Jesus sent back to me through way of karma, you know what I mean? I'm not going to get all philosophical, just take it for what I'm saying. I'll give them a pass, mentally, depending on what they did. Because back in the 90s, I'm going to tell y'all, back in the 90s, when I first started going to prison, you know what I mean? Back in the, I think 93, that sexual deviant stuff wasn't looked upon. So even if they did do some sexual deviant stuff in the past, depending on what it was, because there's levels to everything in life. You know what I mean? In the 90s, I'll give time and wait. You know what I mean? For me not to say I wouldn't would be fake. So all y'all cats saying y'all ain't giving no passes, I'm a 51-year-old man. I know y'all giving passes because you don't make it to be 51 without giving passes and having some understanding. If you going around smashing everybody who's in violation, then you wouldn't have got out of prison. And there are dudes like that. But even them, when they get in their 50s, ain't the same. They have the capabilities, but they ain't the same. But anyway, let me go back. I'm giving passes. I'll give them a pass depending on what they do. Because in prison, in the 90s, we wasn't giving passes for all that sexual deviancy. That's one thing about our generation and the generation before. You know what I mean? A lot of them dudes was super barbaric. You know, raping dudes and stuff like that. My generation came through and said, oh, no, man. You in violation for doing them type of things. You know, that old pimp culture was a cold culture, man. Let me tell you. You know, that old culture back in the 50s, which I don't know about, I see on YouTube, TV, be told about. And then you go back to the 1800s, they was really far gone on what the things they would do because there weren't repercussions. But I'll tell you what, in the 90s, sexual deviance did not have a chance. That's getting extorted, stabbed, sent up top, and for a while they didn't have no PC. And to this day, they still getting punished up there in the joint because that's a tradition. So that's why I say, I through the Holy Spirit, I could look at some things and say, all right, you made a mistake. And I can understand that your mentality was different. But if you did some things, and some of these things Diddy did, you just can't give a pass. So I ask all the future men and women of color, y'all start working on y'all morals as far as it goes with being sexual deviants or not being sexual deviants, and how y'all treat women. How y'all gonna treat the women that are gonna raise these real kings and queens that's gonna be coming up out of them. Y'all in the spotlight? Y'all wanted to be the most popular people in the world? There's a responsibility. The responsibility is you hold up on all corners like Denzel Washington. When he plays a deviant, he's acting. He's not taking on the spirit. You know what I'm saying? I heard Empire. I can't think of it. I was really falling into his misconceptions. Then I remember. You know when Jesus is about to return, when the lie becomes the truth and the truth becomes a lie. Anyway, Empire, you know the cat with the eyes. He was saying in an interview, right after talking about some stuff he nearly had me believing, he was saying in the interview how he takes on a spirit. How he takes on a spirit. And he lets it control him when he plays these parts of pimps. His best parts is when he's acting like a damn fool, you know. He goes on to say, Terrence Howard goes on to say that you got to be able to let them spirits go. But if he's letting them spirits go, then why his best rose is with them spirits? Why did he come out actually making people believe that 2 times 2 or 1 times 1 is 2? I was going for it. I understood because he started talking about money. And then when you talk about money, money is the root to all evil. I'm not going to get super deep. But, hey, y'all celebrities coming up, I'm not going to go into all y'all names because there's a whole generation of them that's lost already. These little ones coming up, these sexy reds, and, we ain't even going to get into the gangsters. And I'm crazy because from my gangster lifetime, I like a lot of these gangster rappers. I listen to some of their music. But what I'm going to have to do is stop listening to some stuff. You know what I mean? I listen to music to get me going. You know what I mean? But some of that stuff gets me going in wrong directions. You know what I mean? So I'm asking y'all young entertainers, y'all young spotlighters, hey man, start standing on these morals. Shout out to the podcast that say, hey, you know what? It's wrong. Some of them I don't agree with because some of them take it's wrong to the point where they're selling out themselves. It's wrong, but let's heal. Like I'm saying, let's heal. Hey, Diddy, you got a lot of stuff going, man. You got a lot of stuff going with your foolishness, with your fakery. Birth of a nation, let's change it. Let's make a different birth of a nation. Biden, Trump, does it really matter? Does it really matter? Let the birth of a nation be a nation that's centered on the upliftment of the people. Who is the people? Refer to the Black Panther documentary. They'll tell you who the people is. Don't condense it, saying it's just African Americans. A term that came up from Malcolm X. And I love you, Martin Luther King. Ain't nobody dying for nothing no more. They sure want to kill for something, but they ain't gonna do that sacrifice. Jesus says the strongest love is the giving of one's blood, one's life. Not blood, one's life. But we know life is in the blood. If you lose it all, you die. So y'all youngsters, y'all podcasters, I commend you. Don't be a sellout though. I get tired of sellout radio. Be a healer. Give your life to heal. JJ Dynamite, Diddy, end of an era, birth of a nation. JJ Dynamite Show. Let's go.